if you think that you should connect Radiotehnika S90 to a weak Soviet amplifier just because the S90 has only 35 watts, congratulations. That's exactly how these speakers were ruined for decades. A weak amplifier goes into clipping, burns out the coils, and the legendary S90s end up needing repairs again. Today we'll connect Radiotehnika 3535 AS1, the first version of the S90 with 3 ohms, to completely different amplifiers. The first option is the Fosi Audio V3 Mono. It's a compact class D monoblock with a claimed power output of up to 240 watts at 4 ohms for each monoblock. The second option is the WiiM Amp Ultra. It's a modern streaming amplifier that delivers up to 200 watts per channel at 4 ohms. And the third option is Usher Reference 1, a heavy high current power amplifier weighing almost 40 kilograms with up to 260 watts per channel at 4 ohms. And today we'll find out what works best for Radiotehnika S90, a budget class D, a modern smart box, or heavy audiophile artillery. Greetings, dear friends. My name is Arkady Zinin. I am the founder of Premium Hi-Fi. We are located in Riga, and everything you see on the screen can be listened to in our demo room. The sound of this amplifier turned out to be neutral, energetic, and quite balanced. The frequency response is perceived as flat and without obvious distortions. The sound texture is clear and the bass is confidently controlled. The soundstage is mainly focused in the center. I didn't hear deep layering in the space here. But the depth of the soundstage itself feels like about 1.5 meters. The sound is large-scale, tight, and quite mature. Recordings sound especially good with this amplifier. Recordings from the 80s, even those that weren't recorded perfectly. There's a certain logic to this. The amplifier paired with the 35 AS-1 seems to say to old recordings, "It's okay, Grandpa. We'll tidy you up, give you a shave, and send you out into the world." Fosi Audio V3 Mono. This is a good budget option if you already have a decent quality source. It sounds neutral, powerful, and solid. It's especially good if you listen to music from the 70s and 80s. If you're not chasing absolute audiophile magic but want honest, energetic, non-fatiguing sound, WiiM Amp Ultra. And here the sound becomes more interesting. There's more scale. The sound stage expands to the left and right. The central area becomes wider, and the images of the musicians start to line up not only in the center, but across the entire width of the soundstage. What's surprising is that this is also an amplifier based on the TPA 3255, but the sense of space has become deeper. There is even a slight layering now, which was almost absent with Fosi Audio V3 Mono. The sound is very balanced, full-bodied, and comfortable. If Fosi Audio V3 Mono is good, then WiiM Amp Ultra is downright awesome. If you want your old Radiotehnika S90 speakers to become part of a modern home system, WiiM Amp Ultra looks like a very strong option. This is one of those cases when Soviet speakers suddenly get a smartphone, internet, and a new lease on life. All that's left is to teach them how to reply on WhatsApp. Usher Reference 1.5 in terms of soundstage scale turned out to be about on par with WiiM Amp Ultra, but there were things in the sound that weren't present with either Fosi Audio V3 Mono or WiiM Amp Ultra. First of all, the decay of notes became more audible. The music started to breathe more naturally. Secondly, the images of the musicians became more tangible, smoother, and more natural. The space between the performers became truly tangible. Not just a conventional left, center, right, but actual space. At the same time, it's important to be honest. The difference with WiiM Amp Ultra turned out to be not as huge as one might expect. Let me remind you that in this setup, our source was the FIO K17 with an AKM DAC, and the power amplifier was the Usher Reference 1.5, and the result turned out to be unexpectedly excellent. I didn't expect such sound from speakers that were released about 50 years ago. The legend, it seems, doesn't lie. Back then, they really knew how to make great speakers. By the way, it's symbolic. About 50 years ago my parents made me two, so you could say these speakers and I are from the same era. Honestly, the speakers turned out to be better because at least you can repair them and replace parts, which you can't really say about our bodies. Usher reference 1.5 gives a more full-bodied, detailed and natural sound. But as an option for the S90, it already seems a bit excessive, especially if you use it with a source like the FiO K17. For a relatively reasonable price, it sounds good, even very good, but whether it makes sense remains an open question. At the end of the test, we did something we hadn't originally planned to do, and in general probably shouldn't have done. But still, we connected a really serious source to the Radiotehnika S90, a Macintosh CD player. And we left the Usher reference 1.5 power amplifier in the system, and here the S90 surprised us once again. Guys, these speakers really can sound amazing. With a good source and a reference power amplifier, the Radiotehnika 3535 AS1, despite being half a century old, is not just able to surprise, but can possibly even put some modern, high-end speaker systems in their place. The sound became more lively, expansive and cohesive. There was a feeling of a real concert. It's not just the speakers playing, it's music. The music transports you to the space in front of the performers. And this setup, Radiotehnika 35 AS-135 AS-1 Usher reference 1.5 plus a Macintosh CD player, turned out to be the most successful, the most emotional, and the most audiophile setup in the test. This is no longer about rationality, it's about collecting pleasure and a love for sound. You should have at least one setup like this, heard at least once by every audiophile, at least so you can look at your own system at home and say, well, it's okay, someday we'll get there too. Fosi Audio V3 Mono is the best budget entry. With a good source, it delivers a neutral, powerful and solid sound. An excellent way to cheaply revive Radiotehnika S90 and understand what these speakers are really capable of. WiiM Pulter is the best choice in terms of common sense. It delivers a richer, more spacious and more enjoyable sound. Plus, modern features like streaming, phone control, TV connection, and a huge range of functions all in one box. For most people, this is probably the most reasonable choice. FiO K17 plus Usher reference 1.5 audiophile experiment. Here you get physicality, detail, note decay, and a more natural sense of space. But such an amplifier might already be excessive for the S90 in terms of cost, especially if the source costs significantly less than the power amplifier itself. Macintosh plus Usher, reference 1.5 gives the maximum emotion and scale. It's the most emotional and the most impressive option in the test. The sound is just amazing. It really transported me to a concert and put me right in front of the performers. And after a test like that, it's already hard to laugh at the S90 like at old Soviet speakers. If you don't believe it, come to our demo room in Riga and listen for yourself. All the options we saw on screen today can be heard at our place. The link is in the video description or in the channel profile. This was Arkady Zinin from Premium Hi-Fi. We are located in Riga and we connect people with sound. That's all for now. May the force of the right sound for you be with you. Come visit us.